Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Building HVAC Science. Today's episode, I'll just give you a couple of quotes from the episode here. AHR isn't just a product show. It's where you see the future of the trade taking shape in real time. Another quote, training, technology, and community are finally moving at the same speed. Whoa. Another quote, exhausting in the best way possible. That's how you know it was a great show. And that was me saying that. We decided to tape this thing to record this podcast pretty much fresh off of the show floor at the AHR Expo. Had Ginny, Sue, Eric, and myself and Billy together talking about one of the HVAC industry's biggest gathering. Ginny gave us some first-time attendee perspective about the miles of booths and crowds. And we got some seasoned takes here you can listen to from Eric, myself, Sue, and Billy. And this conversation blends of product insights with the human side of the event. AHR once again proved to be equal parts technology showcase, relationship builder, and industry pulse check. We highlight some standout innovation across tools and test instruments, Knipex with impressive precision German-engineered hand tools, NAVAC, CPS, and other manufacturers expanding digital manifold and smart probe ecosystems. Uniwelds move into smart tools and their new battery platform flexibility, and some firmware-driven analyzers changes that signal the continuing shift towards connected diagnostics with more information in your hand. And that was from Cytron. Thermal imaging advances by Testo, high-accuracy electrical measurement from UEI, and training simulators from MeasureQuick reinforce how fast the field is changing and evolving. Beyond the products, we underscore the culture of the trade from the tactical awards, recognizing also the high-performance hangout networking, which is engineered and set up by NCI, also to young entrepreneurs starting companies at age 18. This made us feel the future of the HVAC trade is energizing. We close the conversation with reflections on industry momentum, better HVAC's growing traction, and a shared sense that innovation, education, and community are accelerating together. Now on to the episode. To hear our voices on Live from AHR 2026, tools, tactics, and trade show stories from the show floor with the TruTech team.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Building HVAC Science Podcast. Eric Kaiser here. The wonderful Bill Spohn right over there. Everybody loves Bill. And we got the whole team here with us today. We just got back from AHR 2026 in Las Vegas, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what we saw, some of our experiences. And I think we had a first-timer at AHR this year, didn't we? Maybe Jenny?
Yeah, sure was.
You sound very excited about that.
I'm worried about my mic, but super excited about AHR.
Those are both good things, I think. Hopefully the mic will keep working here and everybody gets some nice clean audio so they can listen to this.
Jenny, let's hear from a first-time attendee to the conference. What was your preconception? How about that? What did you think it would be like?
All I knew there was going to be a lot of walking, and there sure was. And I knew it wasn't going to be about TruTech Tools. It was going to be about the manufacturers. So that was really all I had in my mind. I didn't imagine there was going to be so gosh darn many people. It felt like we were constantly just swimming in a maze of people, which was really fascinating. And I got to meet everybody that I've been emailing for the last several months. And I really liked that, especially Jason from Cytron. Shout out.
Shout out to Jason.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a shout back to Jason because we got shouted. We won't go into that.
I think that depended on what time you went by their booth because he may or may not have lost his voice at some point in time.
Yeah.
He did.
We shared espresso before he lost his voice, and it was great. So thank you again, Jason.
Yeah. I have like a approximate number. Like we met with about 20 vendors, maybe more. Billy, what do you think?
Sounds right. There was at least 20, and then a couple brands that we don't currently sell that we met with, and then one brand that we are going to be selling soon, which is Knipex. And I learned at the booth, you do say the K, but they don't care if you don't say the K, so much so that you're buying their tools.
What was your impression of Knipex? The products, the presentation?
Yeah, the presentation, I think Sue has more. She was wowed pretty handily by the demonstration. because she was one of the participants in the demonstration, but the demo was very good, just showed off their quality and the fact that they can really grip onto just about anything, whether it's cellular thin or pretty thick. Just a lot of good hand tools. And as listeners may know, Bill is very technical. He's been around tools forever, and I have not. Things like hand tools are just kind of new to me as far as their differentiations and what they're used, not what they're used for, but the specific applications for some of these hand tools is just new to me, and it was good to get a demo.
Yeah, such a big variety that they had, like really application specific. So you're nodding your head. What do you think?
It was pretty impressive when the little tiny hand tool could be held and you could almost pull a human being's weight against it and it never lost its grip and it was that small. And then just some of the built-in tools, the tube cutter that has the deburrer built right into the tube cutter. There was just some really nice features with the German engineering and the quality of the product.
So Elk, what did you see there that floated your boat?
There was quite a few things I saw. Keeping on the theme of Knipex, I've used a few of their tools over the years that I really liked, but I saw a few more things in their display that was pleasantly surprising. One of the big ones that really stood out to me was even their small tubing cutters have what I'm going to say is a quick fix or a quick transfer method. They have a button on there where you can move the cutting wheel in and out real fast, which is a feature that I've seen on larger tubing cutters from other brands, but I've never seen it on what's called often referred to as an imp cutter or a real small cutter.
Yeah, like palm-sized, yeah.
Yeah, the palm-sized cutters for the smaller tubing that we work with in the HVACR world a lot. So that was a really nice feature that I liked. They had some other really cool pliers there, and I'm looking forward to bringing them on and getting to show some people what they've got to offer. They have some very nice pliers for what I call constant tension clamps that are a hose clamp that's a spring type hose clamp. And anybody that's worked in the field for very long and has had to deal with those knows that they are a pain to grab a hold of, whether they're flat or round. And Knipex makes some really nice pliers to be able to move those on and off of hoses. And I'm super excited about those, and I'm jealous that I won't get to use them every day.
Put those needle nose away. Use these tools.
Yeah, I've used needle nose. I've used all kinds of different pliers on them over the years, and none of them are easy to move around.
One of the things that I think was most impressive was the Melco booth and the transformations they've made over. They started last year, but they brought a lot together. But they didn't have every brand in their booth. Who knows which brand they didn't have in their booth? Go ahead, Sue.
Vito
Propac, yeah.
They were still on their own right now. They'll bring them in. Rebecca will roll them in.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a lot in that Malco booth, and they're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes from what I understand, and a lot more products coming out from them in the near future. So definitely have to keep our eyes open for what they've got and what they're rolling out.
And Jenny, what's the status of Melco, the Edge products?
They are on our website.
All right.
Live on our website, ready to be at your doorstep.
Are they in stock, Sue?
They have been delivered. Some have already shipped out.
All right. Okay. That's pretty quick. We're just a couple weeks after the show here, and good coordination between us and Melco, getting that out there.
Absolutely. They're a good partner.
So at the Uniwell booth, we saw some smart tools being introduced, some smart probes. They seem to be doing an interesting job packaging and broadening their product line there. And we only came on with them in the last year or so. So that sales are really picked up with them, and they're continuing to diversify their product line.
They've also got a flaring tool coming out that's, forget what Josh Crawley said was the unique thing about it, but...
Oh, the adapters, battery adapters.
Battery adapters, yes. You can use DeWalt, Makita, Milwaukee. I think those are the three.
Yeah, so battery powered.
You don't have to buy the adapter separately.
Yes, it comes with an adapter.
That's a huge plus.
So that's a handy thing when we're all using one battery platform instead of having to add another one into the truck and another charger and all that kind of stuff.
So we had another entry into the digital manifold field. That was Citron, right?
Yeah, it was Citron. They came out with a digital manifold and a wireless vacuum gauge that you got to assume talks to the manifold, or both tools talk to the Citron app. But very sleek design. I'm not a technician, and I think it looks pretty nice. Like I would use it. And they've also got some new features within their combustion analyzer that either are coming out or are out for now. Their Pro mode, where they're going to ingest furnace equipment details, specs, and you'll be able to dial in your ranges of efficiency and the different measurements that you're taking. So if you have a Citron analyzer, look out for firmware update in the near future, just because it'll be able to be highly specific to the equipment you're working on.
And that's specifically the Novo analyzer, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. With the big screen on it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Citron Novo. And I believe that's available on certain models of the Novo through firmware updates, if I understood what Jason said correctly.
Cool. And I got to see my good long-term friends from Heat Exchanger Experts,
That's right.
the Prosh brothers. They were there, a couple people in their booth. And if anyone's never seen, if you haven't seen the Heat Exchanger Experts book or their class, it's really something to behold. Eric, you ever been to one of those classes?
I have not gotten to participate in one of those classes yet, surprisingly, given all the things I've done with gas furnaces over the years. But it sounds like a good time. And I've talked to several people that have been to those classes, and I really like a lot of what they teach.
Billy and I got to see, we peeked in on their class for about an hour or so a few months ago in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. They brought all their heat exchangers there. And what was your reaction there, Bill, to see those?
I just can't believe that the equipment fails so often. It's almost built to fail, which,
Pre-programmed.
again, maybe that's just science doing its thing, but cracked heat exchangers are everywhere. And what I've gathered from them is that not enough people are trained on it to A, recognize it, B, test for it. And it might be a one-day class. I think they do one-day classes that could
Full day, yeah.
could save your life, could save your customer's life, and make you money down the road. So win-win-win.
And the four of us here went to the awards ceremony, the tactical awards. What was that all about? Maybe listeners don't know what that is. Eric, you've been going for a few years.
I've been there a couple times. That is it's phrased as blue collar goes black tie event. And it is an awards show modeled after a lot of the other awards shows that are around in the world. But it really tries to help honor and support and give a little bit of recognition to people out there who are doing things in the trade to help others. Maybe they're putting out content info. Maybe they're being a remote mentor for other people. Just being a great person out there in the trade, helping others, which is important because as we move through a trade like this, there's a ton of knowledge that we need to do well. We need to work on the equipment, and people that give freely of their time like that, it's great to recognize them.
Another pretty impressive and busy booth was NAVAC. A lot of things going on there. Any impressions, Sue, Ginny?
Well, they certainly have some options on the digital manifold front with some of the new designs and the ease of which you can change screens and preferences and set your favorites. They were super excited about that. And their booth was, anytime I walked by it, not only when we were there for our actual scheduled time, but very busy, running constant training going on. They had a trainer in the booth. Their booth was always just very busy. And Andrew has a bit of a following, we'll say. People just flock to see Andrew. So, and with Keith having been the host, one of the big hosts for the red carpet interviews prior to the awards, I think that was just another draw into their booth. So they had all the heavy hitters there for sure.
I thought it was super fun. I liked the palm size manifold, and we met the owner briefly. He was really excited about his products, and it was just nice to be around someone who was really enthusiastic.
Yeah, LT Lou.
Then MeasureQuick resided at the NAVAC booth. The entire AHR MeasureQuick is now compatible with, or has been compatible with, NAVAC smart probes, but now NAVAC is also coming out with a manometer, so they're completing their full set of probes. And then MeasureQuick also has these really nice looking, if you want Jim Bergman in a 4x4 area on a cart, you can buy a trainer from MeasureQuick and have Jim Bergman in your home or in your lab, and you be able to train your technicians using MeasureQuick, but then also with built-in faults in the system that really help you experience what you're going to experience out in the field.
I was really excited to go by the UEI booth and check out their new line of meters that they've released. they brought out what they call the HAC, or the high accuracy clamp meter, which I'm really excited to see for the industry, because they did a couple things differently on that, where they went with a lower amperage jaw. They went with a 200 amp jaw instead of the standard 600 amp, which is going to give technicians a much better capability of measuring at low amperages for small motors and things like that. And it will also do wattage and stuff like that. And you can get all that and see it all through their app. So you can put that meter inside of a unit and view it all remotely outside as well.
You know anybody who did a little bit of whispering in their ear to come up with that?
I don't.
You don't? Yes, you do. Was that from like the ResNet?
That's going to be really useful for the ResNet 310 standard measurements. It will be very handy for that measurement, because measuring the amperage and the wattage on the really small motors is difficult when you have a much higher amperage clamp. And a lot of things that we need to do in this industry is measure very low amperages. We're talking an amp, sometimes less. And when you have a real high power clamp or a high capacity clamp, it's a lot harder to do that accurately at the real low ranges.
And not to forget one of our oldest brands, Testo. They had a lot of activity buzzing around their thermal imager. Anybody get to see the demo they were doing there? I didn't.
Didn't engage in a conversation.
It was too crowded. Brent Lambert was doing a great job. They're doing some kind of raffle too. I never figured out what was going on there, but they attracted a lot of people at 860i. I mean, Eric, I remember you showing it off there at the Home Performance Conference last April in Louisiana. One of the first ones we had with us there. Immediately started to feel the vibe that that's going to be a critical product to do better work.
Yeah, that is a really nice, it's small, it's compact. It does work with a smartphone wirelessly. So it'll work with pretty much any smartphone because it develops its own Wi-Fi network. But it does a pretty good job of getting that over there in a quick time to the smartphone or the tablet as well, which I love, because then you can, if I'm walking around a house or something like that, or a job site, and I want to show something to somebody or to a customer, man, you throw that picture up on a tablet and it just makes it so easy for them to see instead of a smaller screen on a lot of the imagers. And the price point's good on it too. So that 860i is a really neat unit. And it pairs up with their psychometric probe to be able to do mold detection. They have a mold warning feature built into it. So as you're scanning around a room, you can say, hey, this is a potential spot that we may need to look at.
Yeah, it gets near the dew point temperature, the surface near the dew point temperature. Sure.
Yeah.
Kind of wrapping up our conversation here, was one of the last things we attended. One of them was the High Performance Hangout. Ginny, you ever been to something like that before?
No, I would say probably not.
What did you think about it?
They told us we had to talk to at least 3 people or we weren't doing it right. And luckily, being with you, Bill, all the people came to us. But no, it was great. We got to meet some people from the tactical awards, like Megan, who won Lady of the Trade. I really, really like that she has such a niche business. I think that's super cool. It was really great to just listen to her talk about what she does on a daily basis. And we got to meet a friend of Bryn Cooksies, Jonathan. And Jonathan was really cool. It was just really great to be around people who are actually in the field working in that way still.
And there were 2 young gentlemen there that had just started their own company at like 18 years of age. So the trades are certainly alive and well within youth of America. So the future looks bright.
Very focused. I remember I got their card somewhere. Polar was one in their business name, and they were from Maryland. So if you're listening, I'm shouting out to you without saying your name because I can't remember it.
I've seen that a lot more today in some of the younger generation. They are getting a lot more entrepreneurial spirit, I think, in a select number of the young generations. They're really wanting to go out and do things and change things and chase those ideas. And some of them are doing a really, really great job of it.
One of the other things that was satisfying for me was whenever I brought up the concept of betterhvac.org, got a lot of good reception, a lot of offers to help, had some follow-up calls afterwards. So that seems to be gaining traction. And if you're a listener and haven't looked at that yet, betterhvac.org, where as a pro, you can list yourself in a directory if you take a pledge to do better work. And if you are looking for HVAC work for you or anyone you know, friends, loved ones, look at the directory. There's over 300 contractors in the US and Canada in it right now. So going to continue to build that out. It's one of my retirement hobbies.
Bill, if you want me to, I can just rattle off some of the new products that we saw just quickly and stop me if you find anything interesting. Hillmore's coming out with a press tool. Didn't entirely get which brand of fittings that they'll work with. Or jaws, I'm sorry. Press tools still confuse me. They're a web.
Yeah, I think they were going to have jaws from Clocky, if I remember right.
Okay. So probably RLS fittings.
Yeah, they're going to have RLS. They're going to have the major brands, so like Connex Manager, Zoomlock Max fittings, and I don't remember if they were going to do the other two, because I think there's 4 brands of press fittings out there now.
We missed seeing their new flaring tool and bending tool, or at least I did. They're also coming out with a little voltage tester.
Yeah, their voltage tester is kind of interesting because it's a touchscreen on one of them. They have 2 models. One of them's touchscreen and one of them has buttons on the side, but it's got a humongous screen on the front of it.
Yeah, like a little iPod for electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More like an iPhone size now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DeWalt is releasing a vacuum pump this year. Looks pretty sleek.
How about those jaws for the RLS that they're going to come out with from REMS?
I didn't actually see them. Sue and Ginny walked up onto the indoor truck.
I stopped and looked at it. They've got a swivel on it, and kind of like the swivel jaws that Milwaukee has right now. But there's another option for the industry where they're a tight space jaw. So you don't have to have the tool directly perpendicular to the fitting.
They seem to be quite popular obviously, I don't know much about them, but having walked up into the area and watched them, that exactly what Elk just described is the big draw, not being able to fit into places that previously had been very difficult to access.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people asking for them for quite some time in the industry, so I'm excited to see that there's a few options out there now for that.
We talked about Malco Edge, got a lot of new tools there, even bringing the NAVAC tube straightener to the U.S. Finally.
I've been looking at that thing for 10 years.
Although I think others have iterated on it, or if iterated is the right word, but it'll now be available from the original.
So people that like pretty piping layouts, here's your tool. This will do it for you.
CPS has some new products, mainly their new manifold. It's digital manifold. They're also coming out with a new vacuum gauge. NAVAC, like we mentioned, a lot of new manifolds this year. A condensate pump that still blows my mind. It does like 145 gallons per
hour.
Per hour, yeah. I almost said per minute. Per minute, that'd be wild. The manometer smart probe, just their whole smart probe setup in general, it was released last year, but I feel like it'll take hold this year. Talked about Citron's digital manifold. Field piece, if it's got field pieces branding on it, it'll do well in tool sales, but they're coming out with 4 models of analog gauges, and they're not your standard analog gauges. They are a premium product, but they looked and felt durable and just easy to use. So if you do like to keep a analog manifold set on your truck and you like the color yellow, this is a great option for you. Vito also came out with a new line of bags. You can kind of think of it like there's a base, which is your bag. The bag is the base, and then they're selling these purchased separately additional bags that clip on to the bag in a easy to use mechanics.
Very strong magnets. They could be hung inside of your van and not worry about them tumbling around because it takes a lot of force to move them.
Yeah, and words won't do it justice. Just wait for a YouTube video to come out and take a look at them and buy them from TruTech. And then just some of the other brands we stopped by, and the crowd can help me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Viega or Viega. They actually have a manufacturing plant very close to us in Mogadore, Ohio, which is near Akron, Ohio. So when I walked up, they said, Mogadore's right down the road. Another local to TruTech, local to me in Pittsburgh, Goss. I had never really known that there would be a HVAC tool manufacturer. Bill knows this on Route 8 in Pittsburgh. I just would have never guessed, but it's pretty cool. And then Midwest Snips. We have their Pookie Buster product that's been popular for years with a lot of people in the industry, but I think we're going to expand on their catalog a little more in 2026.
Cool. The intent was to give a recap, and I think we did that. And I'm just going to ask for one more thing. One word to summarize the week, part of a week, whatever, those 4 days that you attended. I'm going to go right around the way I see people on the screen. Eric, Sue, Jenny, Billy, and then me. Go ahead, Eric.
Fun.
Good.
Impressive.
Busy.
Thought-provoking. There's a dash in there. There's two. There's one word.
Exhausting. I want to say in a good way, but I did say one word. So, all right, everyone. Thank you for joining us, sharing some insights, some firsthand impressions of the AHR Expo 2026. Thank you, TruTech team, and thank you, listeners, for sticking with us. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Hey, thanks for sticking through to the end here and listen to this podcast. If you like what you heard and not subscribed, please search for Building HVAC Science in your favorite podcast app, or you can even ask Alexa to play it. Give that a try. You can follow the show on Facebook by searching for Building HVAC Science. If you have any questions or ideas for episodes, contact us at marketing@TruTechTools.com. Since the topics we discuss require professional training and experience to interpret or perform safely, if you're a trained professional, you'll know how to apply the information. If not, consult with and hire a trained pro. The Building HVAC Science podcast is produced by TruTech Tools Limited. In full disclosure, I'm a co-owner of TruTech. The opinions expressed on the show are those of my guests, my co-host, or myself, depending on who is speaking. If you're looking for tools or test instruments mentioned on the podcast or just in general, you can find them at TruTechTools.com. That's TruTechTools.com. And you can use the offer code HVACBS for a listener discount. Thanks again for listening and supporting the show. And we look forward to welcoming you back next time on the Building HVAC Science podcast. Take care.